Good evening, I'm Adrienne Arsenault. Andrew is off. Tonight, devastation in Beirut.
I saw people walking like ghosts in the streets. They were full of blood.
With the death toll rising, a frantic search for the missing. And growing outrage. How could such powerful explosive chemicals be left unsecured for so long? The magnitude of the damage hits home in Canada.
I lived through the war of Lebanon for 20 years. I never saw something like that.
How communities here are rallying to help. Ottawa strikes a deal for millions of doses of a potential COVID vaccine, but will Canadians get the shot?
You don't want to be the first,
Be kind to everyone.
She's turned kindness into a brand, but with allegations of a toxic culture behind the scene, can Ellen's brand survive? This is The National. Rescuers are still digging through the rubble in Beirut tonight, searching for survivors of yesterday's deadly blast. The day after the disaster, anger is growing, along with demands for answers. Lebanon has declared a 2-week state of emergency. At least 135 people are dead, with many more still missing. More than 5,000 people are injured. Entire neighborhoods were destroyed, and the damage estimates now top $15 billion. All this in a country that was already struggling. There is no doubt Beirut has a long road ahead, but for many right now, the focus is still on the desperate search for missing loved ones. Renee Filippone begins our coverage tonight.
A day after the blast that catastrophically shook Beirut, the true scale of the disaster emerged. Throughout the day, more bodies are pulled from the rubble and more families' fears are confirmed. Rescue workers continue to search for the missing while their families hold out hope. We have been all over every hospital in Beirut, says a man relentlessly looking for his 27-year-old son. We don't know if he is dead or alive. That desperation has many reaching out online, sharing images of missing loved ones, looking for any indication they survived the blast. The explosion was so powerful, officials say it damaged half the city and was fueled by 2,750 tons of ammonium nitrate. Touring the damage, the Lebanese president, Michel Aoun, said the chemicals were stored unsafely in a warehouse for years. We are determined to investigate and reveal what happened as soon as possible, he says. Several port officials have been placed under house arrest. Mirna Halo navigates through the debris inside the home she grew up in. Her mother was injured during the blast, but it's nothing compared to what she saw yesterday.
I saw people walking like ghosts in the streets. They were full of blood. Some people were lying down on the street, unable to get up. Maybe they died. I don't know.
The blast also destroyed a large grain silo containing critically important food reserves, and the damage left hundreds of thousands homeless at a time when the country is dealing with an ongoing political and economic crisis, and of course, the coronavirus. Local community groups are rallying to help those in need. Some say they have lost faith in the government.
People are there for each other. We're not going to wait for some government entity to come and fix things for us. They never did for the past 30 years.
The resilience, the resignation of the Lebanese people, captured in this video of an elderly woman playing piano in her damaged apartment as glass is swept from the room. The weary carry on. This is the grim reality in a deeply scarred Beirut. Renee Filippone, CBC News, London.
That ammonium nitrate, the highly explosive compound behind all that death and destruction, had been sitting in the warehouse for years. As Thomas Degla shows us, officials may have ignored warnings about the risk.
Amid the chaos of the blast came a clear clue as to its origin, that lingering reddish smoke, a telltale sign of ammonium nitrate, a fairly common substance that this expert considers more dangerous than dynamite.
This house we need only a few kilograms to destroy it.
Farmers use ammonium nitrate as fertilizer. It's harmless when stored properly, but not when mixed with fuel, then lit. Like in Beirut, where that fire was the first sign of looming disaster.
Oh my.
That would have been enough to start to heat it up, to then come into this chain reaction event that is unstoppable.
It all came from this Moldovan-flagged ship that docked in 2013. It was forced to unload all the ammonium nitrate it was carrying, but then the cargo was stored at the port and never moved.
We are really a devastated country because no one wanted to take the responsibility.
Human rights activist Wadi Al-Asmar obtained a letter that appears to show some officials repeatedly warned of the risk. In October 2017, the director of Lebanese customs urged a judge to order removal of the material due to the danger of leaving these goods in the place they are and to those working there.
They did a lot of, I would say, paperwork to cover themselves, but no one took an action to protect the population.
The chemical has caused death and destruction before. Think back to the '95 Oklahoma City bombing. The attacker used 2.5 tons of ammonium nitrate as a weapon of choice. At the Toronto 18 terror trial, police demonstrated how just 1 ton of ammonium nitrate could do damage. Now imagine in Beirut there was a staggering 2,750 tons in one place. It took a huge load to cause this much destruction, but it took negligence to claim this many lives. Thomas Douglas, CBC News, Toronto.
So clearly, the devastation from that blast was astonishing, and satellite pictures showed just how powerful the explosion was. Here is Beirut's port before the explosion. Here it is after. You can see the blast left a crater on the pier. Another shot of the port before and after. That's the grain silo just below the crater, almost totally destroyed. And another view before and after. The visible damage extends far beyond the port area. Rebecca Collard is in the midst of all that destruction in a nation with an uncertain future.
It's now been more than 24 hours since this explosion in Beirut's port, and volunteers like the ones behind me are still trying to clean up the streets, clean the glass and the debris out of this neighborhood. I'm about 500 meters away. You can actually see the port there behind me. That area is completely flattened, but even here, even 500 meters away, you can see 20 stories on. This building has been completely destroyed. Now, a lot of the volunteers I'm talking to came from all over Lebanon today to help clean up the capital city. But they're also very angry at their government. Protesters have been in the streets here since October, and those protests were in some ways silenced by the COVID-19 pandemic. But what people are telling me today is that as soon as the rubble is cleaned up from the streets of Beirut, they'll be back in the streets. And I actually saw a group of protesters from the northern city of Tripoli come along this road just about 1 hour ago. And with the port destroyed and the financial crisis that Lebanon has been suffering for months already, it seems difficult to know how they'll possibly manage to rebuild. You know, for example, you can see all these shattered windows around me. Lebanon doesn't produce glass. They're going to have to import that. And the currency here has lost almost 80% of its value. So everybody I'm speaking to today is extremely concerned about the future of the country. Rebecca Collard, CBC News, Beirut.
For Canadians with roots in Lebanon, this has been horrible, spending hours trying to connect with relatives in Beirut and looking for ways to help. Kayla Hounsell shows us what's being done.
Tonight, this Lebanese church is a place for healing. Father Maximos Seikali left Lebanon to come to Canada 30 years ago. Now he says it's his job to help his community in both countries.
Every night we're going to have this service dedicated for Lebanon.
He's been trying to find shelter for people displaced in Beirut.
I lived through the war of Lebanon for 20 years. I never saw something like that.
He says everyone wants to help.
One family yesterday, they told me, you know, my wife says we are going to do 1 meal a day, and the second one we're going to send it to Lebanon. This is how people are thinking.
This restaurant owner has been in Canada more than 40 years. She still has family in Lebanon and thought of them as soon as she heard the news.
I called my brother and said, "Where are you?" Because usually my brother lived in that city where the bomb was going on. And he said, "Don't worry, I am in the mountain and I'm okay."
Still, she's worried about the compounding impact of the explosion in a country already struggling with COVID-19 and an economic crisis.
Green lentils, for example.
So is this Toronto-based disaster relief organization. They're already packing up food and water purification systems.
What really concerns us is the fact that the grain piers have been damaged, and I think the country is going to be down to about a 30-day supply of grains and wheat, which now will lead to greater food insecurity.
So pray, let us pray.
Father Faqiri says Lebanese Canadians will come together to do whatever they can.
We are in heaven. Canada is heaven for us, and we want to see what can we do for you guys.
He left Lebanon a long time ago, but like so many in this community, his ties to his home country remain very strong. Kayla Hounsell, CBC News, Halifax.
Tonight, Canada pledged $5 million in aid to help the people of Beirut. The Minister of International Development says it's an initial contribution.
This is about saving lives in the next 48 hours and then making sure that people have access to emergency shelter, food, healthcare, and medicine.
For now, the money will go to humanitarian agencies such as the Red Cross. The Canadian government is also talking to UN agencies on the ground about possible further aid. Turning now to a big development in Canada's battle against COVID-19. Today, the government announced major deals with 2 potential vaccine providers to secure millions of doses. Big emphasis on potential. Evan Dyer looks into the details and some unanswered questions.
We are extremely pleased to be among the first countries to establish these agreements.
The 2 companies Canada's contracted with, Pfizer and Moderna, can both show encouraging early results. Moderna's formula got a favorable review in the New England Journal of Medicine. Pfizer's research is also promising.
So we've got initial hints that we could be onto a winning product. We're just not there yet.
The government isn't saying how much it's buying or how much it's paying because it's still in negotiations with other providers. But the terms of Pfizer's deal with the U.S. government are public. Washington will pay Pfizer nearly $2 billion for 100 million doses of vaccine with an option to buy $500 million more. We also know that Canada's ordered 75 million syringes, or about 2 for every Canadian.
I think right now we're still at a bit of a gray area in terms of how many doses we're going to need and whether or not we're going to see people that need boosters.
Infectious disease specialist Dr. Michael Gardam says governments have no choice but to cover their bets as best they can.
Right? I mean, let's say, for example, 9 months from now, it becomes very clear that a vaccine that we don't have, that we didn't pre-order, turns out to be the best vaccine. Then we're going to be in line with everybody else trying to get a hand on it.
Canada's had its fingers burned before. In May, it contracted with Chinese company CanSino to work together on a vaccine with trials to be done in this country. But the government of China has so far blocked delivery of that drug to Canada. By working with established Western companies, the government is hoping to have partners it can rely on. Evan Dyer, CBC News, Gatineau, Quebec.
Now, regardless of which entity provides it, a working vaccine is crucial to putting COVID-19 behind us. But a sizable number of Canadians have serious reservations about taking it. Some even say they would flat out refuse to. Lauren Pelly looks into where that reticence is coming from.
I get the flu shot every year, so why wouldn't I get a vaccine if there is one?
I don't know if it's going to cause any complications later.
Ask people if they'll be first in line to get a COVID-19 vaccine.
I want to know what would be in the vaccine.
And responses are all over the map.
I guess it's just, you don't want to be the first,
A new Angus Reid survey found half of Canadians say they'll get a COVID-19 vaccination as soon as it's available. But around a third of respondents want to wait a while. 14% say they don't want to get vaccinated at all.
People need to widely accept it. And we know from other vaccines that there's a lot of discontent and fear.
In this case, fear may stem from just how quickly COVID vaccine candidates are being developed and tested. The survey found among those hesitant about getting a vaccine, 3/4 are worried about possible side effects.
All of the clinical trials have data safety and monitoring boards which review all of the data to ensure that the vaccines are safe.
Canadian vaccine experts stress all vaccines are rigorously tested on thousands of people.
Those are big numbers and should allow us to get a really good handle on safety considerations for really large portions of the population.
But it may not be enough to reassure all Canadians. At least 70% of people will likely need to be immune to this virus to curb infections. So if a chunk of the population doesn't get vaccinated, it could leave those most vulnerable to infection even more at risk.
Elderly people, are notoriously hard to vaccinate because their immune system becomes what we call senescent. It just doesn't react as strongly as it did when they were at younger ages.
Experts say it's up to everyone else to get a vaccine if we want to have widespread immunity. Lauren Pelly, CBC News, Toronto.
And for the latest on the race for a viable COVID-19 vaccine, visit our interactive vaccine tracker. That includes updates on research and testing here in Canada and around the world. Just go to cbcnews.ca/vaccine tracker. In the United States, the country's top infectious diseases expert says he expects tens of millions of coronavirus vaccine doses by the early part of next year.
As we get into 2021, the manufacturers tell us that they will have hundreds of millions and likely 1 billion doses by the end of 2021.
Dr. Anthony Fauci also stressed the rapid speed at which vaccines are being developed doesn't mean safety is being sacrificed. Even with the prospects of a vaccine, COVID-19 has still proven to be a major disruptor in American politics. Both presidential nominating conventions this month will be mostly virtual. Joe Biden announced today he'll accept the Democratic nomination remotely, and Donald Trump has his own ideas. Paul Hunter explains why this is so consequential.
They are, by design, spectacles. The nominating conventions of the major U.S. political parties, at once giant love-ins and free primetime infomercials. With the big event, the acceptance speech for the nominee. Millions watched Donald Trump's in 2016.
And we will make America great again. God bless you and good night. I love you.
Hillary Clinton's was no different. The conventions and those speeches rally party workers and motivate voters big time. So consider the news today that Joe Biden will not be attending his convention in Milwaukee, that Biden's speech will be on video only from his home state, Delaware. Why? COVID.
I think it's an indication of the seriousness with which he judges the situation.
Democratic Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi today applauded Biden for steering clear of big gatherings during the pandemic.
The increase in numbers just demands that we keep our distances.
So where will Trump accept his nomination? He too has said it won't be at his party's convention in North Carolina, noting today his preferred choice, as it was on the 4th of July, is in his own symbolically superpowered backyard.
If I use the White House, we save tremendous amounts of money for the government in terms of security, traveling.
Say critics, it also wrongly turns the White House into a Donald Trump re-election weapon.
By saying he's going to completely politicize it is something that should be rejected right out of hand.
Wherever Trump ends up, and it may well be right here, both conventions are certain to be like no other. Likewise, no doubt, the campaigns to follow. Paul Hunter, CBC News, Washington.
Here in Canada, there is growing pressure on the Ontario government to rethink its back-to-school plans, specifically surrounding class sizes.
If it was up to all of us, we'd have 5 kids in a classroom. But in saying that, we have the lowest amount of kids in JK in the country.
One of the big concerns, kindergarten and elementary class sizes. They will not be capped at 15 as they will be in high schools. The Premier says the plan is backed by leading health experts and anyone uncomfortable with it can choose remote learning.
I'm happy to announce that on September 8th, our children and students will go back to school in Prince Edward Island full-time.
P.E.I. announced its back-to-school plan today. 19,000 students will return to class 5 days a week in the fall. Students will be required to have a mask, but wearing one isn't mandatory. Cohorts will also be created for students and staff, and contact with anyone outside that group will be limited. Canada's Museum of Human Rights has been found to have a toxic environment, one with pervasive racism, sexism, and homophobia. And on the heels of a damning report, its temporary CEO is apologizing and vowing change. Karen Pauls explains.
The report is troubling, it's concerning.
Pauline Rafferty says she was shocked when allegations of racism, discrimination, homophobia, and sexual harassment and assault surfaced in June. She's the museum's board chair and has taken over as acting CEO.
We have to apologize unreservedly. People have been hurt. We have shown that we have not been a workplace that holds up to the ideals of the Canadian Museum for Human Rights.
The allegations came to light after this rally in support of Black Lives Matter. Current and former employees started a social media campaign. Dozens of people came forward.
It's clear that there's some shortcomings here.
Then CEO John Young first apologized, then resigned. The museum launched an external review. The report is scathing. Racism within the Canadian Museum for Human Rights is pervasive and systemic. Black, Indigenous, and people of color have been adversely impacted physically, emotionally, and financially by their experiences within the institution. 44 recommendations include changes to recruiting and hiring practices, content, and interactions with the public.
This has got to be action forward.
Rafferty says the board will implement 5 immediately. It has also committed at least $250,000 for training in anti-racism and sexual harassment. These former employees aren't convinced. They started that social media campaign.
Hearing things and seeing things are very different, and that trust is not going to come back on my end until I see a difference in behavior. The least the museum could do is follow through with those 44 recommendations.
And that will depend on who the next CEO will be. The federal government is searching for that person right now. Karen Pauls, CBC News, Winnipeg.
An Ontario family is speaking out tonight after learning no one will be charged with their loved one's death.
It's disgraceful. That broke everybody in my family.
Next on The National, he was beaten to death after 11 days in jail. Why the guards won't face charges. A moment of pure joy shattered in an instant. The Beirut bride now watched around the world.
I was wondering what happened. Am I going to die?
And can daytime television's Queen of Nice survive allegations of a toxic work environment?
I think her brand is in danger.
We're back in 2. It's been well over 3 years since the bruised body of an Ontario man was found on the floor of his jail cell. CBC News has learned no charges will be laid in the matter after a second investigation. The family of Soleiman Faqiri was crushed by the news and gave this exclusive interview to Farah Morali.
Below the right lapel of Yusuf Faqiri's shirt, a small reminder of his older brother.
When I speak about Soleiman, I feel like an extra motivation.
Soleiman Faqiri was 30 when he died. He was being held in segregation in this jail block. Faqiri was being treated for schizophrenia. In December 2016, he was arrested and charged with aggravated assault after a dispute with a neighbor. 11 days later, he was found dead on the floor of his cell after an altercation with several jail guards.
They beat him to death.
An investigation by the Fifth Estate shed light on Faqiri's final moments, including an eyewitness account from a former inmate. The coroner's report into Faqiri's death found 50 signs of blunt impact trauma, but it ruled the cause of death unascertained.
All these 50 bruises is telling us no result.
He was ultimately defensive. His hands, his feet were tied. There was no help.
After all this time and now 2 police investigations, The family had hoped for justice in the form of criminal charges. Last week, they learned they wouldn't get that. They say the OPP told them this.
They're not charging because they don't know who hit the final blow. It's disgraceful. That broke everybody in my family.
The OPP confirmed to CBC News none of the 6 or more guards who restrained Faqiri will be charged.
They say they can't identify who put the knee on the neck and who put the spit hood on the face, so they can't charge anyone. So the message the OPP is sending the world here is that if you're going to murder someone, do it in a group.
This veteran criminal defense lawyer says charges are routinely laid in group assaults.
They all wind up being parties to the offense, aiding and encouraging the offense, and subject, therefore, to exactly the same penalty, each one, even if they never struck the blow. This is pretty elementary.
In a statement to CBC News, the OPP said various possible explanations exist for the existence of the injuries observed at post-mortem examination. Following a thorough review of the investigations into this matter, charges will not be laid.
I will never, ever again be able to hear his voice, ever be able to give me a hug.
The family's next hope for accountability, a coroner's inquest into Soleiman's death. But no matter what the findings, police aren't obligated to pursue another investigation or charges. Farah Morali, CBC News, Toronto.
Cleanup efforts are underway in the United States after tropical storm Isaias battled the East Coast, leaving at least 9 people dead. Its fierce winds toppled trees and downed power lines, leaving millions in the dark, with some not expecting power again until the weekend. The storm, which is now a post-tropical cyclone, is now bringing heavy rains to parts of Quebec and New Brunswick. In northwest China, roads collapsed and a pipeline exploded after heavy rains. Hundreds of people were forced out of their homes, but no deaths were reported. The eastern part of the country is dealing with a powerful typhoon. Heavy rains caused rivers to swell. Hundreds were stranded.
One bomb exploding 1,500 feet above the target, leaving no crater.
75 years ago today, an atomic bomb was dropped on Hiroshima. A memorial was held in the Japanese town to mark the somber anniversary. More than 140,000 civilians were killed in the bombing. Almost half of the city's population, many died instantly, others months or years later because of the radiation. Nagasaki was hit 3 days later. More than 75,000 people were killed there. And a little later in the show, we'll return to the explosion in Beirut. The bridal photo shoot now watched around the world. The bride is safe. We'll hear from her coming up. But first, as Canada buys millions of doses of a potential vaccine, we ask, what could happen next? And will life ever return to what it was before the pandemic? The doctors are in right after the break. Welcome back. All right, the idea of what we used to think of as a normal life seems out of reach in the middle of a pandemic. Even with a vaccine, Dr. Theresa Tam has warned it could take years before physical distancing and all those mask rules can be relaxed. But today, a little hint of hope. Ottawa announced it has secured access to millions of doses of experimental COVID-19 vaccines. So where does this put us in the race to find a vaccine, and how far are we from returning to life as we once knew it? Joining me now, epidemiologist Dr. Rewat Deonandan and infectious disease specialist Dr. Isaac Bogosh. All right, so let me start, Dr. Bogosh, with you. Pfizer, Moderna, these are, two of the companies involved in this deal with Ottawa. They both just started phase 3 clinical trials of their vaccines. So how significant is today's announcement?
I think it's very significant. This certainly is a big step forward for Canada. We know that these vaccines haven't completed their phase 3 clinical studies, but if these vaccines are successful and they seem to work and they seem to be safe, then Canada will have essentially dibs to get access to these vaccines. And we know there's going to be essentially a global scramble to get access to these vaccines. And luckily, Canada is really at the front of the line, so we'll have access to them. If they are successful, we'll be able to roll them out in the country.
Okay, so Dr. Deonandan, what then has to happen in order for a vaccine to be approved and then be made available to everyone?
Well, first of all, the phase 3 clinical trial data has to be compelling. As a colleague says, it can't turn people into lizards, right? So it has to be safe, and then the data has to suggest that it actually does offer some protection against infection. And if Health Canada then deems that the data suggests that the benefits outweigh the risks, then we move into distribution. Now, we have a vaccine task force in Canada. It's unclear what their role is around this, but I assume they're going to be part and parcel in deciding upon which vaccine candidate to adopt. The manufacturing and distribution issues then come into play. Can we get enough of the doses, and can we distribute them at scale across the country?
Okay, distribution is interesting. So I guess we know with the H1N1 vaccine, it was decided that priority would be given to various groups of people, pregnant women, frontline healthcare workers. What might the priority list look like when we have a COVID vaccine ready? Dr. Bogosh?
Yeah, well, we have a National Advisory Committee on Immunization, and again, we have a vaccine task force as well. And I suspect it's going to look for people that are, one, at greatest risk for having a severe outcome from this infection, and two, people at greatest risk in getting this infection as well. So it'll likely be for those who are in long-term care facilities, those in congregate settings, for example, in homeless shelters, people over the age of 60, frontline healthcare workers. Those are likely the populations that will have access to the vaccine first, and then we'll likely see general rollout throughout the rest of the country afterward.
It's not going to be quick, though. Another challenge, I guess, Dr. Deonandan, for health officials is, can they convince Canadians to actually get it?
This is the trillion-dollar question. So when this pandemic began, everyone was praying for the salvation of a vaccine. Who knew that when one was around the corner, the big question would be, would we accept the salvation of the vaccine? How do we convince people to accept it? So I'll be getting it if it's offered to me. I think I have faith in the process. But the way we convince people is by rolling out our messaging campaigns. And transparency is key. We have to be transparent about the safety profile, the possible side effects, and so forth. So proving that it's safe is paramount. And I think we have to start that process now by educating the public about the process by which the vaccines are manufactured and the science underlying their development.
And reassuring people, I suppose, all the safety protocols have been taken.
Exactly right.
Do you think, either of you, that it's possible for us to return to life as we knew it pre-pandemic, Dr. Bogosh?
Yeah, I do. I really do. I think it's going to be a gradual process as the vaccine is rolled out throughout the country. But I think as that happens, we'll likely slide along that scale towards normalcy. And then I think as we watch the vaccine roll out on a more global scale, we'll see the slow return to life as we remember pre-COVID-19.
Okay, last word to you, Dr. Deonandan.
Yeah, I agree. It'll probably take a year or two, and I anticipate that in that year or two, we will get the COVID vaccine at the same time we get the annual flu vaccine. It'll be part of our regular process, but we will be able to socialize and life will be back to normal. So nobody panic.
Okay, always a good message. Both of you doctors, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anytime.
There are now more than 9,000 COVID-19 related deaths in Canada. We've been taking you through the stories behind the numbers in a special project called Lives Remembered. Tonight, Walter Donovan remembers his partner of 53 years, Lee Hill.
My name is Walter Donovan. My partner's name was Lee Hill. We were together for 53 years. I lost him to the COVID-19 virus on April the 13th. He was 83. We met in Metz, France, when we were teachers for the Department of National Defense. When I first arrived there, I wanted to go to Amsterdam. And so I asked some of my colleagues, is anybody driving to Amsterdam? They said, no, we're not, but we'll introduce you to somebody who is going. I was introduced to Lee. He said he would love to have me as company, and the rest is history. For me, it was the unconditional love he had for me. I was overwhelmed by his love. The first thing in our relationship was the two of us, not our interests and not our desires. We had no secrets. We worked together as a team. We were best friends. Lee was the perfect gentleman. He was kind, he was gentle. He never had a fight, and he never lost his temper. He was reliable, dependable. He was committed to his family, his friends. There were so many things that Lee and I did together. One thing was we wanted to travel the world. And the only place we didn't get to was the Arctic. We actually cruised the world and crossed all the oceans, all the bays, and all the seas. And then we did all the continents. I loved him so much, and what I miss so much is telling him I love him now.
We've gathered more stories of people lost to COVID-19 on our website. You can find them at cbc.ca/remembered. Time for a quick break. When we come back, another former Ellen Show employee speaks out.
When I say be kind to one another, I really mean it.
Can a brand built on being nice survive allegations of workplace harassment? Welcome back. For decades, Ellen DeGeneres has built her brand on fun, on kindness, and generosity. But a growing number of former staffers say the Queen of Kind ruled over a domain that could be monstrous, with allegations of a toxic work environment and worse, now threatening that brand. Deanna Sumanac-Johnson looks at the damage.
He's like my brother from another mother.
On the talk show Ellen, they traded banter and jokes every day. But behind the scenes, Tony Okungbawa said he did experience and feel the toxicity of the environment. Ellen DeGeneres' former DJ is the most recent staffer to allege that the show, built on its host's Be Kind motto, was anything but.
I mean be kind to everyone.
Christy Lee Yandoli broke the story of dozens of former and some current staffers of Ellen DeGeneres who said they experienced a toxic work environment, sexual harassment. One staffer said she was subjected to racist comments.
A head writer had said to her, "Oh, I don't know your name. I only know the name of the white employees who work here," and came up against a lot of barriers, she said. I also spoke to former employees who said they were fired after asking for bereavement days to attend family funerals.
While some staffers said DeGeneres herself could be cold and berating, the worst of the allegations were against DeGeneres' executive team, not the comedian herself.
A lot of former employees say they find it very hard to believe Ellen was completely unaware of the ongoings on the show.
One of the ways I spread kindness is with my Be Kind boxes.
Something that could damage the brand of any beloved star, but especially one who built her empire on niceness.
I think her brand is in danger, but I think she can still turn it around. But she will need to truly demonstrate how she's turning it around.
Some celebrities like Katy Perry and Kevin Hart have come to DeGeneres' defense on social media. But this Canadian PR strategist says getting all the big names back on her show might be tougher now.
I would just wonder, like, as a celebrity publicist, would I book my talent on her show?
We have been doing the show from my house since March.
Ellen's show ratings fell in the last few weeks. Warner Brothers is conducting an internal investigation, but the network has not indicated its desire to end the show. Deanna Sumanac-Johnson, CBC News, Toronto.
Up next, a small town in Nova Scotia grappling with a very big problem.
How high will the water come?
The water will come all the way up to where we make coffee.
Sea levels are rising, so Liverpool is sinking. A growing dilemma for coastal communities after the break.
I'm Josh Block. Tomorrow on CBC's daily news podcast Front Burner, we go to Beirut to better understand the fallout of Tuesday's devastating explosion in the Lebanese capital's port. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome back. The impact of climate change is a fearful reality for Liverpool, Nova Scotia. Tonight, we're revisiting the story of the coastal community, desperate to ward off floodwaters that come with growing frequency and force. As Tom Murphy shows us, it feels a lot like Liverpool is sinking.
Okay, Liverpool has a problem, a big one, the ocean. Increasingly, it is consuming parts of this coastal town. Blame rising sea levels and stronger storms. It all means Water Street is, well, underwater. The Tourism Bureau becomes an island. Welcome to Liverpool. The bank sometimes has its own riverbank. And at the Memories Cafe, they have bad dreams every time there's a storm in the forecast.
How high will the water come?
The water will come all the way up to where we make coffee.
And what are you feeling when you see that?
Panic.
Here's the thing. You think it's bad now? Consider the recent findings of some scientific reports on climate change. They say sea levels could rise by 2 meters by the end of the year 2100 and by 6 meters before things begin to stabilize. At the very least, it gets you thinking, doesn't it? And that's what Liverpool is doing a lot of these days.
The seawall, and of course, once that breaches...
David Bagley is the local mayor.
You've got a real problem on your hands, don't you?
Well, many locations in Nova Scotia have the same problem. We're dealing with it to the best of our ability, and we're hoping to do it right.
Now, this town meddled with nature before, and it actually made things worse. Up the street, on higher ground, at the town's museum, there's evidence of that.
Well, I just wanted to show you something. This is a photograph from the late 1800s, showing what the waterfront used to look like.
But those piers aren't there anymore. They infilled that area?
They infilled it about in the early 1950s.
Seemed like a good idea at the time, I guess.
Well, it certainly created a lot of land, but it also created a problem.
Like the problem of how to handle all that bulging water that now has less of a place to go. So how does Liverpool fix that?
Okay, so put that on and...
That's where virtual reality technology comes in.
The water levels are increasing, and there's the bank, there's the cafe underwater.
If nothing else, it's scaring people into action.
Wow.
There you're probably at about a 3-meter water level.
Tim Webster heads up the geomatics research team at Nova Scotia Community College.
I mean, many people are startled. Of course, people want to know, where is my house? Am I vulnerable? How bad can it get?
And there's a double whammy here, something called subsidence, dating back to the Ice Age.
Once that ice melted, sea levels rose, of course, but actually we're still subsiding. And for example, Halifax, when we compare it to the center of the continent, we're subsiding at about 16 centimeters a century. So we have relative sea level that's actually rising higher than the global numbers.
So Liverpool is sinking.
That's right, not just Liverpool, but essentially all of Nova Scotia.
Back on the Liverpool waterfront, the community hired consultants. But here's the problem. The town can't afford to follow all their advice.
And they range anywhere from building a proper seawall, raising the parking lot, demolishing buildings and relocating.
It is the growing dilemma for coastal communities, because when it comes to sea level rise, things are going to get worse before they get better. Tom Murphy, CBC News, Liverpool, Nova Scotia.
Next on The National, a moment of resilience.
I was wondering what happened. Am I going to die?
A bride shaken by the blast on what should have been the best day of her life. Next. A little bit more of that haunting scene from the center of the blast. 78-year-old May Melky playing piano amidst the rubble of her Beirut home. And that song, do you recognize it? It's Old Lang Syne, mournful notes in the middle of mayhem, a little calm when it's needed most. There are other scenes of resilience in Beirut, including a bride whose wedding video caught the very moment of the blast. The force sent her running for cover. Her thoughts today are tonight's moment. The video of Isra Sablani's wedding day went viral. This moment, a stunning contrast of calm and elegance, and then overwhelming chaos. You can see Sablani in her white gown being rushed from the scene and all that carnage. She is okay physically, and her new husband is too.
I was shocked. I was wondering what happened. Am I going to die? How I'm going to die?
Today, she says she felt the need to return to the place one of her very best moments turned into one of her worst. That once serene square now littered with broken glass and rubble. Every moment there, her mind on the fate of the people of Beirut.
Feel so sad about what happened to other people, about what happened to Lebanon. When I woke up and I saw the damage that happened to Beirut, the one thing I said was, Alhamdulillah, we're still alive.
So many are relieved that she's okay, as is the photographer, Mohammed Nakib. He says that, he went to check to make sure everyone's all right, and then he got the bride and groom a little cake so that night that they could have a little bit of joy. That is a national for August the 5th. Good night.